Hi, my name is Robert Williams, and welcome to my presentation on Down syndrome. I'm just going to be going over some of the fundamentals as well as the strengths and the weaknesses of it. So, starting off, what is Down syndrome? Down syndrome is an intellectual disability. Intellectual disabilities are defined by limitations in adaptive behavior and intellectual functioning before the age of 18. Put simply, intellectual disabilities are limitations in adapting to your environment and brain, how well your brain works in certain situations. It's a lifelong condition, although people with this disability can still grow as individuals and overcome the many limitations of it. It's a genetic condition caused by an extra copy of chromosome 21. In the bottom left, I have a picture of that. So normally you get two. If you have a third chromosome, then you have Down syndrome. There are many physical traits often associated with the disability, such as flattened facial features, upward slanted eyes, shorter stature, lower muscle tone, and smaller hands and feet. And it comes with a lot of delayed developmental milestones. So these are common of all intellectual disabilities. Individuals with Down syndrome often reach milestones a lot later than average. Words and full sentences often take months or years to develop, as opposed to like your average child who might be a little bit faster. And motor skills is often a struggle of people with Down syndrome, and it can take almost their entire lives for it to develop fully, if at all. Moving on to the weaknesses, there are definitely some weaknesses to this disability. Probably the most important, I would say, is the heart conditions caused by the physical defects. This can often shorten the lifespan pretty significantly of people with Down syndrome. Their lives tend to be, 20, 30 years less than normal. Right under half of people born with Down syndrome are born with heart defects, sometimes requiring surgery to correct as children or into their adult years. Structural differences in their ears often cause hearing difficulties. Eyesight, on average, is worse. And immune system is often a little bit more weak than your average person. They often have decently limited language skills. It varies from person to person, but some individuals have a lot of trouble with speech, while others can do it more naturally. But for the most part, people with Down syndrome have trouble making complex sentences and expressing themselves. They often, most of the time, have a shorter attention span and limited motor skills. These motor skills can be caused by the low muscle tone I mentioned earlier and other physical issues, along with difficulty with the mental aspects of those motor controls, like movement and stuff like that. And despite all that, we get over to the strengths. People with Down syndrome are often very sociable. They are incredible at empathy, emotional sensitivity, and mostly just very agreeable people. It varies from person to person, obviously, but in general, they are very friendly, very nice, just very sweet people who are incredibly caring and very, very just good to be around. People with Down syndrome are often very persistent as well. Despite all the setbacks that come with their disability, they are still persistent. Learning is more difficult. They still push through it and keep up with their peers, provided like a little bit of extra support. Like a lot of people with Down syndrome are still in the same, like in education, they're still in the same grade as their peers. They just require a little bit of help outside, but they're still keeping up, which is really important and like really impressive considering everything that they have to go through. Another big part is their visual learning. People with Down syndrome are often better at visual learning and visual memory than your average person. Like, so when they'll see a picture, they'll keep it in their mind longer. They'll be able to recall it more easily. Auditory and verbal memory is a bit of a struggle, but their ability to remember things like shapes and colors is very, very strong. And lastly, the sense of humor. They're often very funny, laughing, just having a good time. That goes along with them being very sociable. They're just very happy. And for the most part, of course, I don't want to lump anyone in with anyone else, but in general, they're very happy people. And that brings me to the last one, influential figures. I just have a couple of these to go over. Madeline Stewart. She's an Australian model with Down syndrome who has done extensive work all over the world. I got a picture of her right here doing fashion. Pablo Pineda was the first European with Down syndrome to earn a university degree. He's from Spain. He got it in, I think it was like psychological education or something like that. And he was even an actor as well, very accomplished. And lastly, I got Chris Nikic. He was the first individual with Down syndrome to ever complete an Ironman triathlon at the age of 21 too, which is very impressive. And that's about it. Yeah. Thanks for listening.